Testing, testing, 1, 2, testing, 1, 2. All right, so go ahead and look at the low float scanner. Nothing's on the higher float scanner for today. Low float scanner, we got SMX, which did a massive move on um, Wednesday afternoon. Huge move. No real catalyst behind it. Now it's up 50% today as well, with very low volume. Has 1,200,000 shares. Other than that, we got ADTX behind it with 23%, CDT with 13%, and we're waiting. And not a whole lot of volume. Nothing in like Nvidia or some of the bigger moves that we normally look for. So most of it is in the small caps, and I don't know if these have catalysts. Let me flip through them and see if any of them have any kind of continuation catalyst, or if they're closely aligned with the recent topics, maybe AI or something like that. So let's go and see if any of these have catalysts. So SMX, no catalyst today. ADTX, no catalyst. CDT, no catalyst. YGMZ, they got a direct offering, and that direct offering was on the 26th, so Wednesday. Okay. AREB, no catalyst. All right. So let's jump over here and look at their individual charts. AREB looks like death over here. SMX, ADTX went up there to 589 and then bounced on back down. It is below its ATR highs there, so that's not great. Like to see them get above that and keep moving. Let's see. CT. All right. Let's jump over here and see what's going on in the markets. The first thing we see out here, and actually let me make this the right size. First thing we see out here, CME Group, flying dark. CME futures outage hits trading worldwide. S&P 500, Dow, and NASDAQ futures were frozen in the glitch-fueled halt that disrupted U.S. Treasuries to WTI crude. Okay, so some kind of glitch came through. We'll see if anybody else was affected by that. Okay. So AI data centers, massive demand is crushing U.S. aluminum. Okay. This Thanksgiving prediction, markets took crypto's place. Black Friday tech shopping only gets more complicated with AI. The boldest stock calls for 2026. OpenAI, and what I'm looking for those standout company names in the title lines, and I'm not seeing them right now. That's probably why we're not seeing as much volume in the high floats. The boldest stock calls for 2026. OpenAI allies amass 100 billion debt pile to fund its ambitions. High-riding Chinese EV makers show signs of profit pressure. Oil steady, but set for fourth monthly drop as glut looms. Our money fashion, not too worried about fashion. Nexperia's Chinese parent says company's Dutch unit seeking to permanently strip its control. Delivery hero, blah blah blah. Okay, so today is gonna be probably a Freaky Friday. Trump vows to permanently pause migration from third world. U.S. stock futures marooned amid CME halt to trading. Okay. Let's go see what they're talking about out here. We can start 14 minutes ago. We'll start with the most recent.
Walmart and Amazon. I'm curious how we reviewed Walmart and Amazon. I'm curious, how would you sort of compare and contrast those names, David?
Walmart and Amazon. I think, short term, I think Walmart has the edge over Amazon for two reasons. One being, the new induction potentially into the QQQ. And the second one also, what we just talked about, Amazon is just battling this, AI identity crisis. But, I think from a valuation perspective, they're almost trading in parity. From a technological advancement side, I mean, they both love to, invest in AI tech. I would say for both of them, they tend to do better when they're harvesting margin rather than investing. That's something I've said for quite some time, that these stocks tend to do better when harvesting than investing. They've all invested, quite a large, substantial amount of capex over the past few years, where I think you're going to get even more of this margin expansion from an operating leverage perspective, working for both. But if I had to choose one at the end of the day, I am taking Amazon over Walmart. I like the valuation of Amazon at 30 times while Walmart's trading at 36 times. But I don't think you're going to be wrong choosing both of these stocks right now.
What about, just to throw another name into the mix here, Walmart, Amazon? How about Target? What are your thoughts there, Dave, with the stock down about 40% year to date?
I wish I could just say no to that answer and leave it there, because it's just been so difficult to like Target for quite some time. I just see, the near-term benefits are very limited moving forward because, the frequency and discretionary categories for Target, they just softened on a two-year stack basis. But my main thesis is that, the traffic recovery and this discretionary demand would just remain a gated factor into some type of sustained re-rating, even when they're really trading at 11 times forward, Josh. I mean, for Target, if I were to be a bull, I'd want to be, focusing on the overall margin. But right now, I just expect that to remain very weak heading into 2026 as elevated capex and ongoing price investments, they just remain limited. So they're not going to help, margins at all. So, when a stock trades at 11 times forward earnings, I think any incremental news could be very positive for the stock from a price standpoint. I would probably be fading that just because there's so many structural problems with the stocks. And it all comes back to the point, they've just underinvested in their technology for quite some time, unlike Walmart and Amazon we just talked about, that they're just going to be left in the dust.
Omar, what are you recommending that clients do with these AI stocks right now?
Rebalance. This is the time for many reasons, from tax efficiency to just risk assessment to risk budgeting. We always encourage our clients to look at these opportunities when volatility is high, to basically find opportunities to recalibrate their portfolio and position it for next year. Whether it's equities, fixed income, or just overall, their entire structure of how they want to position their portfolio with their investment objectives. This is the right time to do it. When you think about the prospects of going forward, starting with fixed income, clearly a steepening yield curve will favor for clients to start thinking about the increasing in duration, staying up in quality, because there's really no reason to go into have a heavy credit exposure. But this is a good opportunity when you look at just the results on investment grade these years. They have been great. Those bonds have actually done their job on providing that stability and diversification. So this is the right time, if you don't have enough fixed income exposure, to try to think about it. And then within equities, again, reduction of that momentum exposure when you have areas of technology and a lot of those large caps, a lot of those, cryptocurrencies. This is the opportunity to try to deploy, assets into areas that haven't done as well. A little more mid cap, small cap, some cyclicals, and then trying to look for what may happen going into next year, mostly, related to fundamental and macroeconomic drivers.
Check this out. U.S. companies have sharply cooled their hiring this year due to trade uncertainty and cautious consumers. The economy lost jobs in June and August, and the average pace of job gains for the 3 months ending in September was only around 62,000. Yet, the productivity of workers remains high, and gross domestic product, or GDP, has stayed solid. My question is this: why does the disparity exist? And is it the most unusual economic circumstance at the moment? Let's take it to the opening bid roundtable. George Bory, Allspring Global Investments Chief Investment Strategist for Fixed Income. Brooke DePalma and Inez Ferrer are here as well. George, over to you. Why do you think this is happening?
Yeah, Brian, great. Thanks for having me on. There's there's clearly some meaningful sort of forces unfolding in the labor market. And, the term low hire, low fire has been very much in play. We saw that in the payroll report that was much delayed, but finally released last week. And the way we would categorize it is that, we're still very much within the ranges of full employment. And what we're seeing is that companies are holding on to their older employees and they're slow to hire their younger employees. A lot of that has to do with AI and changes in technology. It has to do with the maturity of the economic cycle. And it also has to do with sort of changing dynamics as the economy itself changes to a new tariff backdrop, shifting dynamics in terms of demand, and just sort of overall population growth, which is slowing as less immigrants kind of come into the country. So some pretty big forces at work here. Is it unique? It's very unique. And it is not typical to see such a slow pace of hiring when you still have sort of the ongoing desire to retain employees. So we're kind of stuck from an unemployment standpoint. We sort of feel like we're sort of stuck right around that 4.5% range. We look like we're fully employed, but the underlying trend is telling us that the labor market's actually softening because it's having a difficult time absorbing a large number of young workers.
All right. So that's that. Let's go ahead and jump back over here. So ADTX is leading right now as far as volume, has 8 million shares in volume. I really don't know if it's going to be something that's going to do something crazy, but I guess we can watch it. Went up here and did this little 585. I really just don't think it's going to be breaking out there, but could be a Freaky Friday where this one just gets so much attention because there's nothing else on a Friday and they just pile into it. But made this little bottom down here at 362 and has been kind of walking its way up from here. Something like that. We'll see if it ends up breaking that down. Let me back up a little bit. Had this, so the bottom is 316. We'll see how desperate they get on this one. It's only up 28%, so that's definitely not a huge mover. Back up to SMX. It keeps pumping and dumping as well. The bottom, double bottom down here at 2573. This one is a little bit lower, but no real clear, clean structure on SMX.
As retailers gear up for Black Friday, the unofficial kickoff of the holiday shopping season, a study out from Boston Consulting Group shows consumers are willing to spend, and they're also very savvy when it comes to markdowns. Joining me now, Tiffany Ye, BCG partner. Tiffany, thanks so much for being here. I was really struck by the information that you sent us that people are willing to spend. And, we've seen some of the surveys out there that say spending could go up in the range of 3 to 4%. But it sounds like you guys are more optimistic than that even. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, in our recent survey, we actually found that consumers plan on spending
We already seen this the other day. This is a little bit older. It was Wednesday, November 6th. We already seen that. Well, looks like it already has started to work its way back under. See if it go ahead and break down this 380, get going downward. Only up 25% now. SMX making a move back down from 28 all the way down here to 27. So $1 loss for anybody that's playing around with this monster. Let me actually look into these and see if any of them are aligning with the topics that we usually look at. Could that be a reason why they're up? So let's start with ADTX. All right, ADTX, a commercial stage company, discovers and develops products in areas of immune health, precision health, and population health, women's health, and neurologic health. Okay, so that is definitely not with the whole AI thing. Let's just go and look at their news real quick. Yeah, no news on that one. Okay, CDT. Is Conduit Pharmaceuticals. All right, so amounts, let's see. This is another clinical stage biopharmaceutical company, develops pharmaceutical products, medical needs, blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's go to news. Anything about AI or data centers or anything like that? Nope. All right, let's see. Those are the main two. Well, we're just waiting on something else to pop through. Waiting for ADTX to show us if it's going to go down or not. But right now, it's just a trend within a trend. The point of control is at the 418s on the 5-minute. It's at the 430s on the 430s on the 5-minute, 418s on the 1-minute. So somewhere in here. Spreads on this is about 75 cents at some point. So he's saying bid at 27.50 and then ask at 27.94. So if you accidentally buy this, it could fill you with a very wide range. It's got a 40 cent range right now and not a whole lot of fighting over the prices. So SMX is definitely a dangerous one. ADTX. It's got about a 1 cent spread. CDT. Just trying to let my scanners do what they do. Let me go back to the news and see if we can find anything else. Kind of figured today was going to be a little bit slower with it coming off the holidays. You know, people kind of just trying to see what's going on, man. Trying to not get cooked. Point control, little zone is up here. We'll see how that trades. It says from, well, they just showed 5/16. That wasn't right. All right. Where's ADTX from? Since it looks like it's going to be our Freaky Friday mover today. All this volume. It is from Mountain View, California. Mountain View, California. And it has a float of under a million, so 559,000. See if it goes ahead and breaks down this 385 we had down here. Is going to continue to trade within this little wedge here. Run it down. Got about a 10-cent fall off if it wants to crash out. But working its way away from this top side. So top side at 405.
Getting back to tariffs for a moment, I think the last time we talked to you here at Yahoo Finance, you talked about the exposure to China for your manufacturing. Have you guys diversified at all? What kind of flexibility have you had to try to just diversify your supply chain in response to all this?
Well, we had some big decisions to make, whether we moved out of China to places like Vietnam or Indonesia, India, Cambodia. We made a decision to stay in China. It's the most reliable supply chain manufacturing hub for toys that there is. And I really felt that a deal was going to be made between the US and China. And that's proven out because the tariffs now at 20% are pretty much equal to those in Vietnam, Cambodia, Indonesia. It's much less now than India. India's 50%. So we've kept the supply chain pretty much intact in China. It's not that easy to move these products around. And of course, while we'd love to bring the production back to the US, there's really not a ready labor force here, nor the capital to set up factories. So what we're really hoping more than anything, in the coming weeks is as the story moves from how affordable it is to buy a Thanksgiving dinner to how affordable it is to buy Christmas presents, that we hope the war on Christmas presents ends and tariffs come off toys. I certainly would vote for a Nobel Prize for the president if you took tariffs off on toys and stopped the war on toys. But that's one way to get prices down. But from a supply chain standpoint, China's still pretty much the hub. We're always looking for places to diversify, but we're really hoping for our Christmas wish is that tariffs go down to zero on this toy industry, which is a non-strategic industry that doesn't have a manufacturing base here.
Right. Jay, thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it. And happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. You too. Happy holidays to everyone.
KTTA coming up to the ATR high, bumping its head there. Had a previous high during, I guess this would be Wednesday afternoon, to 155 and coming down to 88 cents and then wrapping back up to 119. I don't see any kind of catalyst on it, but this is another therapeutic stock. So a whole bunch of therapeutic medical stocks coming up here. And KTTA low float that is on the rise as well, up 14% now. So it was 8% and now kind of jumping, moving on up. So on the low float scanner, it is passing. So let's see, AREV, it needs to catch up with SM. Oh, it's already caught up with SMX. So now it just needs to move up a little bit more, and then ADTX. So needs to catch this one, get about 5 million in the pocket, 5 million shares traded, and get more attractive. So right at that ATR high is where it's turning around. ATR low is down here 91 cents. So got this kind of zone, but we like to see them break above ATR high aggressively and continue upward. Now it's back to 9%. This one a very, very tight sideways consolidation. And the breakdown is getting closer and closer. KTTA. Let me go see where KTTA is located. Now only up 4%, so losing itself quite quickly. KTTA is now, let's see, so it's out of Miami Beach, Florida. Pasithea Therapeutics, a clinical stage biotechnology company, focuses on the discovery, research, and development of treatments for central nervous system disorders and resopathies, and cancers. Okay, out of Miami Beach, Florida. But now only up 2%, so that's going to fall off of a bunch of retail traders list no matter what. Because, you know, you start getting under 10%, people are like, wait a minute, if you're going to move, you need to move. But it did run into this ATR high up here, so that was kind of predictable. You all are seeing anything else that is of interest today, definitely throw it into the chat, because this is kind of like a wait and find out moment. What's actually gonna move? ADTX continue to hold flat here right at that $4 whole dollar level. Drop point is down here at 385. So we're finally starting to see a dropout of ADTX. Can it start to break down 390s? KTTA back up to 10%. But definitely needs to get past this 120, 125 area. ADTX went down there right to where we were talking about, 386, and turned around. Right back up to that $4 flat. So at least it's tested this and it's showing us that, yeah, this is something down here. I'm not sure about this one at 4 flat, if it's going to hold it here. It still has this one up here, but it's kind of getting out of range, getting lower and lower from the 416 level. The point of control is right up there at the right over the 416. So not sure about that. I can actually extend this. Four 16. KTTA, very quick turnaround back up here to this 121. 2 million shares traded. Hitting that 121 there. Breakout will be over the 125s. Right back at this ATR high. Okay, so it's breaking out here. Up 16%. 2,600,000 shares. Now it just needs to hold over 121. Let's go look at the daily chart. Daily chart on Wednesday, it reached a top up here of 135, and it's looking like it's headed up there again. Next obvious levels, there was a little bit of a gap here between 143 and 151. Gonna mark those up. Okay. And then let's see, the other gap is at 151. 146. Let me zoom in here. I can't really. It's so tight. 146. Okay. So those levels are right up here, 142 and 146. And it's up 20%, so it's starting to gain volume. It's the number 2 with volume and momentum. So 142. We'll see what it wants to do. I see volume pouring in there. Look at that volume coming in there. So it looks like it's gonna it's got less than 5 million to catch you with ADTX. We'll see if it becomes a focus on the day. So on the 1 minute, point of control is 126, 5 minutes is 114, and 15 minutes is 107. So kind of a wide range here of trading. Looks like it's aiming for that 142, that gap level up there. See if it can do it. It's only a, what, 10-cent move up there. And we really don't have any real structure here as far as trend. Let's go. Where is the focus in this market? And this is the last trading day of the month as well, so definitely be careful on this day. No need to push it. Even if you are red, there will be more opportunities. Just got to find the good ones. Okay, TTA. Will it be able to hold up this 128 TR? About to have 5 million shares traded on KTTA. 4 million away from taking the reins from ADTX. Overall market, let me go look at the NQ. Oh, actually, before that, stopping right at that 122 level, right above this ATR high. Can we start to see any kind of real structure that isn't this steep? This was a very steep move down and up on this 1 minute. 5 million shares there, pushing back up. So high is the 134s, but still no true structure. Nothing. Kind of like a big flip flop. KTTA running up on ADTX, about to take that spot. About to have 10 million shares in trading on the pre-market. Right back down to this previous ATR, a little bit higher stock there. Still not enough to say that it's super bullish or it's in a uptrend. ADTX still staying out in front of it with the volume. They're trying to decide, do they want to hold this ATR or not? Little peek down through it. Only up 13%, so probably losing a little bit of love from the retail. Popping back up off that ATR right there after peeking down through it. So peak down to the 120s. And again, no real structure. ADTX also still holding here. All of these therapeutics companies, this one came back down to where we were talking, or back down to the trend that we were talking about earlier at the 393s. I don't know if it can get back up here to 407s. Very steep. That'll be a very steep move up if it was going to do that. But just slowly holding this trend with no catalyst though. That's the only. Oh, SMX popping up back up to almost $30. But the volume on this one is way too low. It's barely got 2 million shares. There's too many eyes on other things. If it's going to be the thing that's going to be making a move, it needs some more volume. Looking like it's going to touch 30 though. Top side of this was 28.80 or 29.84. It did tip 30. Yep, but that volume is way too low though. That's the only issue with it. I don't see any new catalysts for SMX either. The spread did tighten up a little bit, but I'm thinking if volume slows down again, it's going to widen out. So I'll be careful on this spread on SMX with no catalyst on a Friday, last trading day of the month. ADTX got down again, still trying to hold this trend, man. Still trying to hold it. KTTA and ADTX are right there neck and neck for volume. But KTTA is only up 17 and ADTX is up 25%. SMX went up to 32.17, dropped all the way back down to 30, so a $2 loss. Anybody playing with that today is they're probably gonna be hurt, especially in pre-market. ADTX, you're making lower lows. So this low was at 385. So we have, whoops, a little bit of a, what else just popped in there? I don't know, nothing new. All right, let's go look at this new idea and see if it starts to do any kind of holding. This one up here, I think is kind of out of range for now. It's going to have to get past out of this point of control. So remove all of that. It's got this one upward movement to 409s. And it's right there bumping on 4s on ADTX. 26% up. Now KTTA has more volume than it though. That is not a good thing. KTTA again trying to hold up this 120. I don't like the fact that KTTA is overpowering something that is higher price and all of that. I just don't like that. ADTX should have put his foot down. But it could be that more shorts are interested on KTTA, and that's where the volume is coming from. So we see this little pullback here to that 120 level. And we're starting to see a little bit of structure right here. And wondering what's going to happen over this 120 if it can continue going on no catalyst. On SMX, it's just like we were thinking. It got tighter on the spread, but I'm thinking this spread is going to widen out. Now it's going to 20 cent spread, 32 to 50. Yeah, it's looking real dangerous there. ADTX again coming down. Just losing the battle. You're losing the battle of volume here. Back at 120 again. So if it pulls back over 120, that'll be another time that it survives this fallout. It does have a little bit of structure, but we don't really have real structure here to the downside. But it looks like it's creating some that's not going to be that steep. And so we'll see how it does here. But it's only up 8% as well. So it's losing that momentum traders really look for it to continue to gather. So I would say this one is pretty dangerous as well, being at only 8%. It needs to start getting back up to 15% or something like that to be viable. But it is drawing so much volume. ADTX, uptrend inside of an uptrend. The top side of this is $4 flat. It continues to play here. 25% up, but less volume. Volume's falling off on it. So I really don't trust this one. Even if it does go, it's losing the competition of marketing. People are just not jumping in there. If we look over here on the low flow scanner, we can see how KTTA's volume is moving versus ADTX's. Only hundreds. KTTX is pretty much still moving thousands. So this one, even though it is going down and even though it may be shorts, it's getting more attention. More people are watching this TV channel. SMX all the way back down under 30s. Popping back up, getting a little poppy and droppy. Only 2 million shares on SMX, so that one's way out of the competition. KTTA just giving up all of the little gains that it had. Only up 5%, so a lot of people are gonna fall out of love with that. Even shorts, they're going, oh, we made enough. No, I don't know if they're gonna do it. They may just hold and not sell, and it just continues to press it down. CDT. All right, let me refresh our news and see if we got any new news. Okay, so on our research, let's see. Dollar set for worst week since July as traders maintain bets on December rate cut. Let me jump out here. $41. Wow, nothing more recent than that. That's insane. The last most recent thing is talking about toys. So yeah, today definitely isn't a super serious day in the market. Could definitely be a Freaky Friday. SMX jumping back up there real quick. 31.20. I think SMX is just out here to take money, to be honest. It's taking donations. Previous high was 36.51, 32.16, 31.98. Little peek out. Top side is wow. It just blew out that top. So this is some unpredictable breakouts here. So this structure is very unpredictable for sure. Can't trust it either way. Right back up. It's going to do another break. 32.99. Small little breakout there. Up to 33. So I know somebody got hurt on this little dip, this $2 per share dip, and then coming back through. 2 million shares traded on it. Continues to climb. Top side of this was 36.48. Look at the daily chart real quick. I mean, where do you even place, like, this daily chart? Where do you even place levels out here? 30. So this is where it closed, 17, and now it's trading somewhere in here at 30. This really doesn't. I don't know where it could go. No obvious levels around there. Nvidia finally joined the high float, so it's the first high float to make it, getting that 1 million shares traded up there, making it on the scanner. Any kind of news on it today? Just social buzz. Yeah, social buzz is pretty much what it's getting today. All right, so went up there to 34 and now right back down to 33. So $1 loss on that pullback. Overall market is just sitting kind of flat today. Not really big moves up or big moves down. KTTA is all the way back down to pretty much where it started. So into that downtrend. CDT. So yeah, it looks like we're looking in the right spot. It's just not a whole lot to look at. ADTX continuing to come down here and try to get through this 380 level. But again, continues to hold this little trend here. I don't know where. I don't know which one of these. Like, I don't like SMX because it's lower volume. Only not even 3 million shares. But I don't like ADTX. It's pharmaceutical with 11 million shares trading, just not moving well. Yeah, this is an unpredictable stock here. Is anybody trading SMX or attempting to trade this thing? Because seems like it's hard to get in and out with good sizes on this one because the volume's so low. I don't think any big traders that are trading like, 10,000 shares are on it for sure. It's just not enough liquidity to get in and out safely. If anything, they'll be sizing down trying to trade it. Sizing down a lot. Okay, throwing this back out a little bit. So now we're getting a little bit of structure. It came up here to the top, and let's see where so pre-market high was here at 36.54. Made a little high here. Okay. Then it came here making a downtrend inside of a downtrend. So we'll see if it continues to hold that. And if it wants to get down. But everything else kind of looking sick. Good morning to everyone. Hopefully y'all had a great Thanksgiving if you celebrated. Definitely, I'm still digesting right now as we speak. But it was definitely nice. Mm-hmm. ADTX again, holding up these levels, man. This thing is just, ugh. So it's got another little, see how this idea holds up for it. Can it continue holding? Up 24%, 395s. Has the points of control all the way back up here at 418s. 11 million shares traded. Good morning, Donnell. Watching a couple movers. SMX has been taking souls. It's very unpredictable. You know, even when we're thinking, oh yeah, this thing's about to go down, it pops again. It's not clean and it's very unpredictable. Then we're watching ADTX, which has been holding these levels here around the 385, coming back up here and looking like it wants to get back up, but I don't know what it wants to do. Not seeing catalysts on today is one of the downsides of this day, Friday, coming off of a holiday. No companies are like, oh yeah, let's put our news out now. So just floating at that $4 level, 401s. Quite a bit of a pause there at that 401, 402 level. But the points of control are up here to the box. Okay, so we got another idea here. See what ends up holding up. Some of this stuff I'm gonna clean up, getting a little messy. This one up to the box, I really don't like that one anymore, so I remove that. We'll see how it ends up holding here. Man. All right, SMX, big dive down, so did not go back through that level that we saw. I thought it was gonna be unpredictable and just continue to pop, but going from 33 back down to 30, $3 loss if you were caught in that one. ADTX still in the number 2 position as far as volume and percent gain, up 27%. Lot of wicks on this stock though. WAI, not sure what that is. It looks like it's trash. Only 1 million shares traded. It's just popping up, but it's up 12%. So this is what the low flow scan's looking like for me right now. SMX still leading in percent gain. ADTX, WAI. But as far as volume goes, ADTX is pretty much eating everybody else. So we'll see how that goes with these tight moves. KTTA was one that we saw earlier, got going down here, but I mean, it's got to really get all the way back over the 120s at this point. Kind of a weird structure on it anyway. I just don't know if this one's going to be able to return to 33. So $3 move up with this volume. ADTX is getting really, really flat with these wicks. Really don't like that. Coming right up to where kind of like a shoulder was here at 32.18, forming a secondary shoulder here. So maybe a head and shoulders, but it could be unpredictable and try to get back up here to the trend before it tries to go down. Again, this one is right on the $4 level on ADTX. Has room down to 387s. It's not able to hold that 4 up. So what is the market telling me today? Telling me that there's not a whole lot of focus in the market, especially not towards the topics that we've been seeing as far as AI and AI infrastructure building. All of these are pharmaceuticals, which are pretty off topic from what we've seen. So just gonna be careful, not trying to blow the month on one day. If something pops up, which I don't know if it will, but maybe it'll be continuation, something we've seen earlier this week that'll pop up, but it's going to be in direct competition with KTTA, which has sucked up some volume, ADTX sucking up volume, and then SMX as well. I really think we're going to see some halts today though. SMX to the downside for sure. Well, I'll say for sure, but I think it has a very high chance of halting to the downside. Still staying within this downtrend as well. So to get out of this, it will need to pop over 33, 34s at this area. But I don't know if it's going to end up reaching up there and doing that. Popped right to the trend there. Let's see if it holds it down in here. It's about to close this candle in 10 seconds. Is that trend true or is it false? Or is that idea true or is it false? So closing, open up a candle below that trend. Continuing to hold. So now we're getting confirmation on structure, right? At first it was like, where is the structure? And now we're saying, okay, starting to see a structured trend and all of that. Let's see. The bottom side of this is 30.49. So let's see if it wants to trade, consolidate, and then retest for a breakout, or consolidate and do a big dump. ADTX still on the struggle bus over here at $4. It's just too weak, man. Even if it does explode, it's too unpredictable. Happy Black Friday. I know y'all are going to buy everything in the store, online and in the store. Y'all gonna go and, high step over bodies and cartwheel through the aisles of these stores to try to get all the best buys. But it's been a long time since I've shopped on these discount days. I usually I don't care. I'm like, yeah, I see everybody running in there. I'm like, you know what? Healthcare is very expensive. I like my knees. But SMX coming up and testing our little trend again, proving that this trend is definitely some type of hold spot. So we'll see what it wants to do from here. You bought an MPC, but got it delivered. Oh yeah, that's the best way to do it. Stay out the way. Unless somebody's following your delivery truck. Oh, why do I have 2 delivery trucks here? So SMX trend proving itself, knocking it back down. WAI. See if it can continue to hold. Does it have any? Nothing has catalyst. The catalyst is heavily affects my profits. I need to see some news, man. KTTA. ADTX trying to break over 4 again. I think people could jump on and take it to 406. Yep, there it is. 407, but the point of control is all the way up here to 416. Well, look at there. Right up to those almost there. Still though, where are those levels at? The levels no, those aren't the levels. Oh well, it doesn't really matter. Either way it goes, it's still weak. Okay. People still over here hard trading KTTA. This was a structure that it had previously had. We'll see if it continues to break out of this structure at the 112 and see if it can break back up. Has a bottom side down here at 105. Breakout will be over the 117s. Now it does have a significant amount of volume, but being at 4%, people aren't just going to fall in love with it. They really need to see it back over, like 20%. All right, coming back up here to some previous highs. And just not able to get up there to that point of control level. All right, well, it is what it is. I'm about to go and make some money doing something else. Pretty much seen what I came to see. Let me refresh this news one more time and see if anything new popped up. So we did our due diligence. We let's go look at this right here. CME outage. Whoops.
Set to overtake Samsung and become the world. Well, Apple is set to overtake Samsung and become the world's top phone maker. That's according to Counterpoint Research. It says that the American tech giant will ship 243 million iPhones this year to give it a market share of 19.4% compared to Samsung's 18.7%. Now, Samsung sales are rising as well, but not at the same pace as Apple's. This means that for the first time in 14 years, Apple is number one and Samsung is number two. Apple's success has been driven by the successful September launch of the iPhone 17 series, not only succeeding at home, but also in that critical Chinese market. Now, Samsung, meanwhile, could face challenges in the low to mid-tier of the smartphone ecosystem from Chinese players, which could hamper the South Korean giant's ability to reclaim that top spot. The hit to Apple from tariffs has also been less than forecast. That's due to the US-China trade truce. Plus, a weaker dollar has also helped its sales abroad. And the competition between the two biggest smartphone makers looks set to intensify even further. Now, however, the battle to be top dog when it comes to smartphone sales doesn't seem to be reflected in the company's respected share performances this year. Yes, Apple share prices are higher, but Samsung Electronics shares have performed almost 9 times better in 2025 so far. The first thing you need to know is that an outage at the Chicago Mercantile Exchange has disrupted trading across the globe. The outage was caused by a data center fault. Live trading in futures and options across several markets, including bonds, equities, and commodities, have all been affected. And the halt has impacted not just contracts for the likes of the S&P 500, but also trade in US Treasuries and US crude oil for several hours. The next thing you need to know is all about the labour market. Analysis by Goldman Sachs suggests that the labour market is weakening further. This research comes as President Trump has called for reverse migration. He announced the crackdown on immigration following the shooting of 2 National Guard members in Washington. Trump said on Truth Social that he would, quote, permanently pause migration from all third world countries. Recent data shows that more than 1.2 million immigrants left the workforce over the first 7 months of 2025. And the third thing you need to know about is all about shopping over this holiday season. Online sales in the US on the Thanksgiving holiday are expected to rise 6% compared with last year to reach $8.6 billion. That's according to data from Salesforce. Thanksgiving and today, Black Friday, usher in the holiday shopping season's most critical stretch that typically delivers about a third of US retailers' yearly sales and profits. Now, Black Friday, which is the biggest day of the year for online shopping, is expected to drive $78 billion in online global sales and $18 billion in the US.
Getting back to tariffs for a moment.
Okay. So that's some pretty good news to note. Immigration, jobs weakening, all of this, a little bit more uncertainty put into the market. SMX still holding this downtrend. We'll see if it flashes down some more. Back towards the 3062s. Let me go ahead and flip through the rest of this. So ADTX gave up all of that, going back down towards this 385 that we've been waiting for it to actually break down. WAI could not hold up its ATR highs. KTTA is slowly walking out of this little trend that it had downwards. So it's forming a little idea here upwards. We'll see if that continues to hold up. Can it get back over this 120-ish level? Back up over 15-20% up on the day for KTTA. There are no catalysts that I've seen in the low caps or low floats. So basically today is just one of those days that it's like, well, you just this is a hold and hope day. True diamond hands at the end of the month is what we're seeing. SMX broke out of this level. Is it going to break the next one too at 34.24? Or is it going to slam back in? Slam back under 32s? Nope, breaking. Big push up to that next level. Yeah. This is going to hurt somebody today. Only 3 million shares traded with these huge moves. Spread is the spread is all over the place actually. Okay. So now that invalidates this, and we have a new downtrend out here from this level. Well, if you guys are gonna trade SMX, I would just say good luck if you have a strategy for something like this, but that's a hard trade right there. ADTX, everything just looking trash. There's some hard trading on Friday. You gotta really grind to get your money out. Like, the only reason I'd be trading today is if I was even if I was so far in the red, there'll be a horrible decision, because on a day like this, trying to force trades will probably put you even deeper in the red. So I would say caution on all of these stocks without catalyst. ADTX. Then the structure just keeps on being so unpredictable. These pops out. So this pop was from 32.19 up to, and this is actually temptation for breakout traders. So on days like this, when breakouts are working very well, or on a side like this, I say breakouts are working very well because they kind of, from 32.19 up to 34, that's a $2 move for a breakout trader. Then let's say that they tried it again. They probably got clapped right here. Let's see. They could have gotten hurt right here. Then there's a breakout here, 33.46 up to 35. So there was some opportunity for breakout traders, but I think this is just getting their bloodlust up. And so it's kind of preparing for a bigger dump. You know, they're like, ooh, I got a pretty nice move on that one. Let me just try every breakout. And then you get caught in some of these flushes. Like this one, 34.52 up to 30. Somebody bought this breakout and now they're down almost $3 a share. So I would definitely be exercising some high levels of caution today. Anyway, I'm about to get on down. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. I'm going to be back on Monday morning, or Monday is a Cyber Monday. I think the markets are still open or whatever. I know today is supposed to be a short day as well. So, I mean, all around, you end up losing on the day. You have less time in the day to trade. Just be careful. All right, well, I'm getting out of here. And as always, I'll see you guys in, what is this guy talking about? GameStop. Oh, here's a new video. I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm gonna let this play. Peace.
It's time now for today's trending tickers. First up, a story that keeps weighing on one of Wall Street's biggest names, Jefferies. It's facing new troubles again over its links to the bankrupt auto parts company First Brands. Now, according to the Financial Times, regulators are examining Jefferies' role in arranging financing transactions tied to First Brands before the company collapsed. The report says that the SEC is reviewing whether Jefferies adequately disclosed risk and its own exposure linked to those deals. No official comment yet from Jefferies or from regulators, but the headline alone makes this stock a big one to watch on today's shortened trading session. Now from Wall Street to Wall Street Bets. The stock that made the Reddit channel famous is rising again. We're of course talking about GameStop. It's up sharply in early trade there, over 3.5%, extending yesterday's momentum. The move is driven by, you guessed it, a new wave of retail buying tied to renewed social media chatter overnight, with trading volumes bringing GameStop back on the list of the most active stocks on Yahoo Finance this morning. No significant news from the company, but many retail investors are placing bets ahead of GameStop's earnings next week. Moving on to Delivery Hero over in Europe. Now, Delivery Hero is on the move in Frankfurt after Bloomberg reported that some of the company's larger shareholders are pushing for a sale. The pressure comes after the stock underperformed this year, but, well, it definitely seemed to be recovering some value in early trading, with the stock jumping about just under 14% there. For a few days now, we've seen Delivery Hero appear on some list of stocks that seem trading at a discount. We'll see if that holds and what strategic decisions the company makes. Next up, it's a tough retail day for two big names in apparel and fashion. Puma and Burberry are both trading lower after new Euro area retail data this morning showed continued weakness in discretionary spending. For Burberry, analysts also point to ongoing concerns about China demand. And last but not least, Alibaba. The stock is struggling for direction after the company unveiled new smart glasses hardware powered by its much talked about Qwen AI model. It's the latest in a string of AI announcements this month from the Chinese giant. The device shown at a developer event in China integrates real-time translation, multimodal recognition, and on-device Qwen processing. Alibaba has been pushing aggressively into consumer AI, and each new reveal has fueled debate about how close the Chinese tech giants are to competing head-on with Western AI players. Well, Apple